Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your Summerslam results and also some predictions from the guy at Reddit.com. And here's what he was saying. Reddit.com user Dolphins 1925 has released his prediction from the Summerslam event prior to the event. As noted earlier, he has been correct on all the predictions this year and has gotten media coverage from several outlets. Here's what he predicted. Dean Ambrose versus the Rob Van Dam match. He did predict Rob Van Dam to win. Brie Bella versus Natalya. He predicted Brie Bella to win. Dolph Ziggler and Caitlyn versus Big E Langston and AJ Lee. He predicted Big E Langston and AJ Lee to win. Kane versus Bray Wyatt. He predicted Kane to win. And Damien Sandow versus Cody Rhodes. He predicted Sandow to win. Alberto Del Rio versus Christian. He predicted Christian to win. And he predicted in the match Brock Lesnar versus CM Punk Brock Lesnar. John Cena versus Daniel Bryan match. He predicted John Cena to retain. Well, so he predicted that Randy Orton would cash in his Money in the Bank contract after the conclusion to the main event. However, he did not specify who he will walk out of SummerSlam as the WWE champion. And he was wrong in almost all the matches, as reference. Cody defeated Sandow. Natalya defeated Brie Bella. Del Rio defeated Christian. Daniel Bryan defeated Cena. Ziggler and Caitlyn defeated Big E and AJ. And Bray Wyatt went way over Kane. According to the reports, the reason Alberto Del Rio was sporting a black eye heading into his match with Christian at SummerSlam pay-per-view on Sunday, Sunday night, was because of a physical altercation that took place either late Saturday night or early into Sunday. And I did find out that it was a barroom brawl with none other than Drew McIntyre. While there isn't a lot of specifics that can be provided at this point, it is known that the World Heavyweight Champion was involved in a real-life brawl with Drew McIntyre. Apparently, the two got into a scuffle at some point, and the fight resulted in noticeable physical damage to both men. And there was a report that it was backstage at SummerSlam prior to the event. But how could that be done? I think they had it on SmackDown as well. WWE explained the black eye during the pay-per-view by saying it was a result of Christian hitting the kill switch on Del Rio during Friday's edition of SmackDown. However, the black eye, as well as a lot of the bruises on Del Rio's face, were a direct result of the fight with Drew McIntyre. Maria Menounos and Natalya defeated Brie Bella and Eva Marie at WWE SummerSlam Access event. And Eva Marie, that was her first event in a match for WWE. According to the WWE SummerSlam Twitter page, along with the Ringside News, as they had pictures of it. I'm not sure why this match took place at Access rather than on the actual pay-per-view, which has the Natalya versus Brie Bella singles match instead. Ultimate Warrior even spoke at WrestleMania, at the WWE 2K14 Access event earlier on that particular Sunday. And the highlight from the event, courtesy of Ardo Cal. He says, some explicit words. Well, if. This is the first words out of his mouth. Off to an amazing start. 30 seconds in, 4 F-bombs. Passion embodies charm. Or character, despite being asked not to swear, Warrior promises no more. Warrior says he's 54 years old. He was 30 when he wrestled Hogan at WrestleMania 6. Warrior said he had never had a male role model in his life. He's glad he created a character that people could look up to. Warrior says that one of his heroes is Walt Disney. One of his kids' nickname is Walt. And Warrior states, before signing with WWE, Vince McMahon and Pat Patterson asked me, what's a dingo, Warrior? And he said, I had no idea. Warrior says his legal name has been Warrior for 20 years. It's the surname on his kid's birth certificate. Warrior says when he started shaking the ropes, veterans would line up to tell him not to do that. He didn't listen. And Warrior said, I slept in cars, got 3 hours of sleep a night to make that character happen. And he wraps up and says he would take pics with people, but no interviews. Okay, WWE star Hornswoggle spoke with Sirius XM radio personality Sam Roberts during Summerslam weekend. And I'll post a video link right here, or somewhere up here. I'll just post the link. Hornswoggle offered his explanation of the botched finish of the Great Khali in Natalia versus Biggie Langston and AJ Lee finished, and whether he was frightened that his gig was finished when Finlay was fired. He has since been rehired. According to sources backstage in WWE, there were many changes to the SummerSlam script in the hours leading up to the show in an effort to prevent leaks on Reddit.com and wrestling news sites. Only a select few WWE staffers knew about the main event finish before it happened. Check out the following video footage from after SummerSlam went off the air. The video quality was crappy, but you can hear the fans chanting BS as Daniel Bryan stands on the stage. And I'll post that link right up here as well. Live from the Staples Center in Los Angeles, Josh Matthews welcomes us to SummerSlam kickoff. Pre-show. Well, I'll post both links for both of them at the same time. On the same thing. Fans are still filing into the arena as Josh Matthews hikes tonight's card. Matthews is joined in by Booker T, Shawn Michaels, and Vicky Guerrero. HBK says not much brings him out of this house in Texas, but SummerSlam in Los Angeles does. HBK is most looking forward to Daniel Bryan versus John Cena. Booker is looking forward to Kane versus Ray Bryant. And Vicky is looking forward to Christian versus Alberto Del Rio. HBK talks about how Bray has an uphill battle and says he will find out what he's made of. Matthews talks about how RVD versus Dean Ambrose for the U.S. title was made, and we see how RVD earned a shot. The panelists talked about The Shield and RVD returning to WWE on the pre-show. We go back to the social media command center with Renee Young. She wants fans to send in their tweets, touts, and everything else. We got a video for CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar. Matthews goes live to Paul Heyman, who was backstage. Heyman talked about the match and compared it to David versus Goliath. Heyman announces the match will now be under no DQ rules, and both men have to have agreed to it. Then we go to Tony Dawson, who was interviewing fans from overseas outside the arena. They aired a promo for Total Divas, and the panelist talked about the Brie Bella versus Natalia match, and they got a video for AJ Lee and Big E Langston versus Caitlyn and Dolph. More from Renee Young in the social media command center, and we get a promo for Daniel Bryan versus John Cena. Shawn Michaels says Bryan has what it takes to become WWE champion. He says he respects Cena, but he's biased. He's rooting for Bryan. Booker says it's perfect timing for Bryan to step in and become WWE champion. And Shawn then says, if it's not tonight, Bryan's time will come. Vicky says she doesn't trust Triple H when it comes to being special referee. And you will see why later in this event. If you haven't heard or seen the results for SummerSlam. Then we get another Doritos Jack promo before going back out to Tony Dawson interviewing fans outside the arena. Then we go back to ringside where Michael Cole saw JBL and Jerry Lawler getting ready. And we're just under 30 minutes away as the announcers hype tonight's card. U.S. title on the line, RVD versus Dean Ambrose. He goes straight to the ring, and out comes U.S. champion Dean Ambrose. Out comes next is RVD, and the fans are still finding their seats. They lock up and go at it. Ambrose drops RVD first, and the fans boo. Ambrose attacks, cocky, and mock RVD. More boos from the fans. Lock up again, and Ambrose takes RVD to the mat. They trade holds, and RVD drops Ambrose with a shoulder, and then a big kick. RVD does the shoulder point, and Ambrose's face, and the fans chant along with him. More back and forth. RVD with a big clothesline and another takedown into a headlock. Ambrose takes RVD to the corner, but he turns it around. RVD with forearm shots. RVD runs into a big knee in the corner and goes down. Ambrose takes his time and covers for a 2 count. Ambrose with a neck breaker and another pin attempt. Ambrose keeps RVD on the mat as the fans chant for him. Ambrose with a double drop kick to the chest and more trash talking. 2 count by Ambrose. RVD comes back with a pair of clotheslines and a super kick. RVD with a crossbody for a 2 count, back and forth in the corner. RVD slams Ambrose and goes for the split-legged moonsault, but Ambrose gets his knees up. Ambrose with a clothesline and a 2 count. RVD comes back with more offense. Goes to the top for a frog splash. The Shield music hits, and here comes Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Through the crowd, Ambrose rolls out to the floor. Mark Henry's music hits, and he comes out to join RVD. Big Show joins in with the party, and here he comes. And then we cut to a WWE 2K14 promo during the middle of the match. Their infomercial. The match is back and on as Show and Henry are outside the ring, as well as Rollins and Reigns. Ambrose with a 2 count. Ambrose with another hold, keeping RVD grounded. RVD gets tossed to the floor. Show and Henry make sure Rollins and Reigns leave RVD alone. Ambrose comes out, but RVD counters with a suplex on the floor. RVD drops Ambrose on the top of the barrier and goes to the apron. RVD does a shoulder point and hits the big kick from the apron to Ambrose on the barrier. RVD brings Ambrose back in and goes to the top with a senton for a close 2 count. Roman Reigns pulls RVD's leg as he runs the ropes. Ambrose tries to attack from behind, but RVD pins him with a unique pin for a 2 count. Ambrose gets a big spine buster for a 2 count. Ambrose with more offense as he goes to the top and comes crashing down, but RVD moves out of the way. RVD went for a frog splash, but goes to kick Rollins on the apron instead. Ambrose rolls RVD up from behind for another close 2 count. Ambrose runs into an elbow in the corner. RVD with more offense than Rolling Thunder. RVD nails a frog splash, but Reigns spares him for a disqualification. RVD won the match by disqualification. After the match, Show and Henry hit the ring, and the Shield escaped through the crowd. Now let's talk about the match. HBK says RVD isn't done and has his eyes on the U.S. title. Vicky leaves the panel to go get ready for tonight. And we go back to Renee Young at the Social Media Command Center. We see construction crews and members of the LA Fire Department setting up for the Ring of Fire match. Well, I'm guessing that match was first. We get a promo for Kane Leslie Bryant. Live from the Staples Center in Los Angeles as Summerslam host. The Miz kicks off the pay-per-view. Summer Rae and Fandango end up coming out to dance on the stage as Miz welcomes us. We go to an opening promo video. Announcers welcome us to SummerSlam now as Lillian Garcia introduces JoJo from Total Divas as she sings the national anthem to start off SummerSlam. Yep, Ring of Fire match was first. Kane versus Wade Bryant. And we go to the ring. Out first comes Kane for tonight's opener. We see the railing going around the ring. Apron that flames will shoot from. Lights go out and the lantern is lit. And out comes the Wyatt family. Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and Eric Rowan. The lights come back on and Kane watches as Bray gets up from his rocking chair. Rowan and Harper look on. Bray enters the ring. The bell rings and the flames start up around the ring. There's also a red lighting from above. They lock up and Kane takes Wyatt to the corner and unloads on him. Kane takes Wyatt from corner to corner and hits a big right hand. Wyatt hits the mat and the flames jump up. Rowan and Harper go towards the ring, but the flames go up again and they get back off. Wyatt turns it around and works Kane over. Kane turns around and slams Wyatt, making the flames rise again. Well, isn't this just like the Inferno match? That's on the WWE video games. Kane keeps control and hits a low drop kick. Kane missed in the corner and Wyatt splashes him, and Wyatt takes Kane down with a flying shoulder. Wyatt posed as the fans cheered for him. Wyatt with a kick to the head before mounting Kane with right hand. We see firemen at ringside just in case something happens. Wyatt yells at Kane as he works him over with kicks. Kane grabs him for a chokeslam, but Wyatt fights it off. Kane nails a big boot. Kane with a splash in the corner and a clothesline. Kane with a sidewalk slam. Bray turns around and Kane takes Kane down. Rowan tried to hand Bray a kendo stick, but the flames keep rising. Keeping him away, a fireman has to extinguish the kendo stick as it caught on fire. Kane came from behind and took back control. Harper sprayed the extinguisher at the flames on the ring, but almost got burned himself. Kane grabs Bray for a chokeslam and nails it, causing the flames to rise again. Kane takes his time and drops Wyatt again. Rowan and Harper cover the flames with some kind of cloth and then use the steel steps as did in the ring. Wyatt family beats Kane down as Bray covers. Harper nails a big clothesline and Harper follows up with a splash. They help Bray up and he poses with his arms out. Bray then taunts Kane as they hold him. Bray kisses Kane on the forehead and nails his finisher. Causing the flames to rise, Bray covers for the pin. Bray Wyatt won. After the match, the lights came back on and Bray posed over Kane. They left the ring and they go to replays. Bray takes a seat in his rocking chair at ringside. Rowan and Harper have pulled the steel steps in front of them. They lay Kane face down on the steps in front of Bray. They grab the other half of the steps and Bray talks trash to Kane before instructing him to drop the steps over his head. Bray lights his lantern, the lights go out, and as music hits, Bray leads the way as Rowan and Harper bring an unconscious Kane with them. Then we get a WWE 2K14 promo before going to the panel. Then we get Josh Matthews, Shawn Michaels, and Booker T, and Vicky Guerrero talking about the Ring of Fire match. Announcers talk about CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar. We see footage of the pre-show from where Paul Heyman revealed the no disqualification stipulation. Then we got Damian Sandow versus Cody Rhodes up next. Then we go to the ring and out comes Sandow with his Money in the Bank briefcase. Sandow cuts a promo on the way to the ring and says Cody has been his sidekick. Sandow will send Cody back from where he came from to his family of carnival clowns. Out next comes Cody Rhodes. Cody is no longer supporting his mustache. They lock up and go at it. Cody with offense in the corner to start off. Sandow turns it around and fires back. Cody drops him with a right hand. Cody with a big back drop and a front suplex for a 2 count. Cody ends up on the floor as Sandow rams him back into the apron. Sandow brings it in and works Cody over. Sandow with a suplex for a 2 count. Then Cody fights back and goes for a crossroads, but it's countered. Sandow gets his knees up into the face. Sandow with a side rush and leg sweep. Goes for the elbow of disdain and nails it for only a 2 count. Sandow with a nice submission, but Cody broke it. And Sandow goes right back to work and rubs Cody's face into the mat. Sandow goes to the top, but Cody cut him off. Cody with headbutts. Cody nails a muscle buster and covers for a 2 count. They end up on the apron and Cody hits an elbow to the head. Cody springboards in with a missile drop kick and Sandow ducks a disaster kick and Cody dropped Cody into the second rope. Sandow with a swinging neck breaker for a 2 count. Cody counters with a roll up for a 2 count. Cody nails a disaster kick, but Sandow kicked out at 2. Sandow moves and Cody runs into the ring post as Sandow rolls him up for a 2 count. And we get a couple more minutes of back and forth action and Cody nails crossroads for the win. After the match, Cody celebrates as Sandow crawls to and clutches his briefcase as we go to replays. Then we get a look back at Christian's career. World Heavyweight Title match: Christian versus Alberto Del Rio. We go to the ring, and out first comes Christian to a nice reaction. Out next comes World Heavyweight Champion Del Rio. Lillian Garcia does the official ring introductions, but Del Rio cuts her off before his. Del Rio insists he be introduced in Spanish, and there's a pop from the crowd. They lock up, and Del Rio takes it to the corner before backing off. Del Rio with a big right hand as he beats Christian to the mat. Del Rio with a hip lock. Christian fights out, but Del Rio drops him with a shoulder. Christian fights out and sends Del Rio out to the floor. Christian charges with a baseball slide, but Del Rio moves and runs back into the ring. Christian comes back and drops Del Rio over the ropes. More back and forth action. Couple more minutes as Christian cuts Del Rio off on the top and climbs up. Del Rio turns it around and runs up with a huge kick to the side of the head. Christian hangs upside down in the corner, and Del Rio starts kicking him. I guess it's a tree of woe with the kicks. And they go back to the floor as Del Rio sends Christian shoulder first into the barrier. Del Rio with a 2 count. Christian fights to his feet, but Del Rio took him back down. Del Rio focused on the arm and shoulder. And they go back in the ring as Del Rio stomps Christian's shoulder from the second rope. Del Rio gets a 2 count. Del Rio with a drop kick to the shoulder. Christian ends up pulling the rope, and Del Rio lands out on the floor. Christian leaped out and crashed into Del Rio. They came back in and traded shots. Del Rio dropped Christian and stomped him on the arm some more. Del Rio takes his time and taunts Christian. He came off the second rope, but Christian got his boot up. Christian looked for a comeback and nails a right hand. Christian with a missile drop kick from the corner. Christian climbs Del Rio into the counter and nails a bunch of right hands. Del Rio misses an enziguri, and Christian nails a crossbody for a 2 count. More back and forth action as Del Rio blocks kill switch and eventually nails a backstabber for a close 2 count. Del Rio is very frustrated now as Christian pulls him in for a quick roll up and a 2 count. Del Rio nailed an enziguri and covered for a 2 count again. Christian with a flying elbow. Del Rio blocked kill switch again and rammed Christian into the corner with the shoulders thrust. Del Rio takes Christian to the top. Christian tried to powerbomb Del Rio out of the corner, but Del Rio drops him with a punch in the face. Christian ended up nailing a super hurricane rider from the top for a 2 count. Christian goes for a spear, but Del Rio drop kicks him in the face and gets a 2 count of his own. Del Rio goes for a cross arm breaker, but it's blocked. Christian with a big right hand from the floor. He comes back in, but Del Rio super kicks him for a 2 count. Fans chant, "This is awesome," as Del Rio readies for another kick. Christian ducks and rolls Del Rio up for a 2. Then Christian nails a spear, but his shoulder is hurting him. Del Rio applies the cross arm breaker. Christian tries to fight out, but Del Rio tightens it, and Christian tapped out. After the match, Renee Young interviewed Del Rio in the ring and asked if he's proud of his victory. Del Rio said it's a great night because he's still our champion. Del Rio gets a pop when saying he's the one respecting Latinos. Del Rio said that the Mexican people need someone to look up to, someone to telling them everything will be just fine when they are down. Del Rio says he is that person. He drops the mic and raises the World Heavyweight title as his music plays. The Miz is backstage with Maria Menounos talking about her Access match. Fandango and Summer Rae appeared and danced. This led to Maria and Miz dancing away together. Then we get a promo for Total Divas, which sets up your Divas match of the night, Natalya versus Brie Bella. We go to the ring, and out comes Natalya with Cameron and Naomi, the Funkadactyls. Out next comes the Bella Twins with Eva Marie. Natalia strikes first, and they go at it. Lots back and forth. More trash talking. Natalia goes for a sharpshooter early on, but Bree is pulling to safety. Natalia brings her back in the ring and gets caught coming in. And Nikki Bella pulls Natalia's face first on the apron. Bree kicked Natalia out to the floor. A chant for JBL started up in the crowd. Bree is back in the ring and hits a pair of leg drops. More back and forth as Natalia goes for a sharpshooter again and locks it in. Bree breaks out and sends Natalia in the corner. Even Marie and Nikki got involved, bringing Cameron and Naomi over for a fight. And Bree slams Natalia face into the mat and taunts her. Natalia overpowers Bree, but got cut off again. Natalia goes and locks on the sharpshooter one more time as Bree taps out to end the match. Then we get another backstage segment with Ryback bullying a catering worker. Ryback doesn't look like cold soup, but it's supposed to be cold. Ryback ends up dumping the soup down the guy's shirt. Ryback laughs at him and says he's like a 3-year-old. Ryback dumps a whole pot of soup on his head and calls him a moron. Then we get a promo for CM Punk vs. Brock Lesnar, and it's a no DQ match. Then we go to the ring. Out first comes Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman. Out next comes CM Punk. The bell rings and they go right at it. Lesnar with a shoulder thrust in the corner. Punk tried to fight out, but Lesnar starts beating him up. Lesnar tossed Punk from one corner to another and then kept stomping and pounding. Punk fought back but Lesnar caught him with another kick. Punk charges, but Lesnar caught him and rammed him back into the corner. Lesnar put the boot to Punk down in the corner now. Lesnar talk trash and says this is his house. Punk with a drop. Punk with a kick and a high knee, and Lesnar finally goes down. Punk with another high knee to send Lesnar to the floor. Punk nails a suicide dive. And both guys are down on the mat, on the floor. The fans start chanting for Punk now. Punk tries to use the steel steps, but Lesnar runs into them and sends Punk to the floor. Lesnar gets driven face first into the ring post. Punk climbed to the top and leaped out onto the floor, taking out Lesnar again. Punk with more offense on the floor. Punk stalked Heyman, causing him to trip and fall. Lesnar attacked him from behind, which saved Heyman. Lesnar tossed Punk across the announcer's table as Lesnar tossed Punk again and out to the corner of a TV monitor, hits him in the back. Lesnar throws parts of the table on Punk and stomps on it. Lesnar with a big overhead throw on the floor. Lesnar mocks Punk. Lesnar brings it back in the ring. Punk fights back with kicks to the leg. Lesnar drops him with one shot. Lesnar with a big heart hug. Now Punk fights out with elbows, but Lesnar cut him off with a big knee to the gut. Heyman goes to yell to stay down. Lesnar with more punishment for Punk. Momentarily, Punk tried to fight out of a hole with back elbows, and he does. Punk dropped Lesnar to one knee and went up top. Punk goes for a flying maneuver, but Lesnar caught him in midair and nailed a huge throw. Lesnar scooped Punk up and drops his ribs on his knees. Lesnar slams Punk and goes for a pin, but Punk kept kicking out. Punk fought back and started hitting Lesnar's ear, so it looked like, with Punk. When Punk gets more kicks in, Punk with forearm sharps as Lesnar stumbles around dazed. Punk goes up top with a flying knee and Lesnar goes down. Punk nails a high knee in the corner, another high knee. Lesnar blocked third high knee and scooped Punk up for the F5. Punk slid out and nailed the roundhouse kick, but Punk went to the top and nailed the flying elbow. 2 count for Punk. Punk calls for the GTS. He scoops Lesnar up, but Lesnar slid out. Punk slid out of the F5 and nails another roundhouse kick to send Lesnar down. Punk struggles to okay. Punk counters it and applies an armbar. Lesnar tries to turn it around, but Punk gets him in a triangle. Heyman screams as Lesnar powers up and nails a big powerbomb, but Punk still has the triangle applied when they hit the mat. Lesnar struggles not to tap and finally breaks the triangle. Lesnar goes for another powerbomb, but hits elbows while up in the air. Lesnar runs and finally hits a big powerbomb. Lesnar with a big suplex now, and he puts his forearms upon his face and covers for a 2 count. Lesnar went outside to the ring and grabbed him. Lesnar went outside the ring and grabbed a chair. He turns around to Punk flying off the top. Lesnar gets a chair shot up, and they both get hit. Punk grabbed a chair and smacked Lesnar in the back a few times. They come back in the ring. Lesnar caught a chair shot, but Punk falls down. Lesnar swings the chair, but Punk nails a low blow. Punk goes to the top with the chair in hand. Punk hits a flying elbow with the chair under his arm. Smacking Lesnar in the face. Lesnar kicks out at 2. Punk gets up and nails chair shots to the back. Heyman gets up on the apron and Punk goes for him. Lesnar makes a save and goes for F5. But Punk has Heyman by his tie. The F5 is broken up and Punk nails the GTS, but Heyman breaks the pin right before the 3 count. Punk looks crazily at Heyman and goes after him. Punk came back in, but Lesnar goes for the F5. Punk countered in a mid-move and hit the DDT for a close 2 count. Punk locked in the Anaconda device. Heyman comes in with a chair, which broke the Anaconda device hold. Punk steps on the chair and looks down at Heyman. Punk grabbed Heyman by his face and nails him with a big right hand. Punk locked in the Anaconda device on Heyman. As Lesnar comes over with a big chair shot on Punk. Lesnar with another big chair shot. Lesnar scoots Punk for the F5 and nails it on top of the steel chair for the win. After the match, Lesnar takes on Heyman and grabs the steel chair before we go to replay. We come back and Lesnar and Heyman are stumbling up the apron while Punk tries to recover in the ring. Punk gets to his feet and the fans cheer for him. Punk music hits and he goes to the back. Then we get a video from Access where a fan took a splash from Mark Henry and won free ticket to tonight's pay-per-view. The fan and his 3 friends are sitting at ringside for this next match. Dolph Ziggler and Caitlyn versus Biggie Langston and AJ Lee. We go to the ring out. First comes Dolph Ziggler and Caitlyn. Next we get Diva Champion AJ Lee out, followed by Biggie. Biggie and Dolph start things off. Dolph with an early drop kick for a pin attempt. Biggie came back with a belly-to-belly suplex, and Biggie runs the ropes and nails a splash for a 2 count. Biggie with an abdominal stretch and shots to the ribs. Biggie tossed Dolph to the mat and holds him so AJ can slap him in the face. Dolph comes in with a drop kick out of nowhere as AJ and Caitlyn tag in now. Caitlyn slams AJ back into the corner and clotheslines her. Caitlyn with a backbreaker and AJ with a spinning kick for a 2 count. AJ keeps Caitlyn on the mat as Caitlyn fought out, but AJ took her back down with an elbow for a 2 count. AJ with a pair of neck breakers, and AJ skips around and taunts Ziggler now as AJ jumps on Caitlyn's back with a sleeper hold. Big E and Dolph came back in. Ziggler with a drop kick and a neck breaker. Ziggler drops a bunch of elbows. Ziggler with a 2 count. Big E comes back in with a knee to the head and a 2 count as Caitlyn breaks the pin. AJ comes back and kicks Caitlyn out of the ring. Big E tosses Ziggler out into the corner and nails a big spear. Big E missed the second rope spear and hits the ring post. AJ grabs Dolph's leg, and Caitlin makes a save and hits the spear on the floor. Big E takes advantage of the distraction and drops Ziggler for a 2 count. Big E goes for the big ending, but Ziggler slid out, and Ziggler hits a zigzag for the win. After the match, we go to replays. We come back as Ziggler raises Caitlin's hand in celebration. And we go back to SummerSlam host, The Miz, Fandango, and Summer Rae coming to dancing again. I believe Miz lays Fandango out, and that's the end of that. And we go back to the panelists. HBK predicts Daniel Bryan wins. Vicky and Booker also pick Bryan to win. HBK says it's been a phenomenal show, and thanks for them for the Punk versus Lesnar match. They air one last promo for tonight's main event. WWE title match, Daniel Bryan versus John Cena. We go to the ring out first. Comes tonight's special referee, Triple H. Daniel Bryan was out next with a big pop from the crowd. Out next comes the champion, at the time being John Cena. 2 mixed reaction, and we get an official ring introduction before the bell. They lock up, and Bryan grabs the arm. They trade holds, and Cena takes Bryan down with a headlock. They trade holds again before locking up again. They lock up, and Cena takes Bryan to the mat with a 1 count. Bryan bridged, and Cena kept him down. More back and forth action as Bryan goes for the yes lock early on. And Cena slid out to the floor. Cena whispers to the ringside doctor about his elbow. And Cena comes back in and applies another headlock as some fans boo. Another headlock takedown. They run the ropes and Cena catches Bryan and pins him for a 2 count. They trade more holds and pin attempts. Bryan goes for the surfboard submission, but Cena fought it out. Cena looked to go for an attitude adjustment, but Bryan grabbed the ropes and lands on the apron. Cena ran the ropes and sends Bryan flying into the announcer's table. Bryan hit hard and fans booed Cena. A "you can't wrestle" chant started out, and Bryan sends Cena into steel steps. Bryan goes for a suplex off the top of the steel steps, but Cena DDTs him on the floor. Another chant starts out with a "you still suck." And they come back in into the ring, and Cena overpowers Bryan. Cena with more offense and a power bomb. Cena covers for a 2 count. Cena with another headlock on the mat. Bryan fights out of it and with forearm shots. Fans chant, "Yes, yes, yes," as Bryan unloads on Cena in the corner. Cena tries to come back, but Bryan hits the clothesline off the ropes. Bryan with kicks to the chest while Cena is on his knees. Cena ducked the last kick and hits a shoulder tackle. Cena with some offensive, his usual moves. Bryan kicks him and blocked the 5-knuckle shuffle. More back and forth action as Cena coming back with a big slam. And this time hits the 5-knuckle shuffle as Bryan lands one of his feet out of the attitude adjustment. He hits Cena in the chin, and he goes down. Bryan goes to the top and nails a missile drop kick for a 2 count. Cena has a nice shiner popping up now. Bryan with kicks to the arm. Bryan yells at Cena to get up. Then hits him with more kicks. Bryan works on the injured elbow now. Bryan with more kicks to Cena and more yelling to get up. Cena counters and goes for SCF. Bryan blocks it and nails Cena's on hold on him, and Bryan pulls Cena back from the rope, but instead nails a back suplex on him as well. Bryan with another German for a 2 count. Cena goes for another attitude adjustment, but Bryan slid out and applied the foregasm lock. Cena got out of it, and we get the dueling chants from the crowd. Bryan with another submission that brings Cena back to the mat. Cena powers to his feet and rams Bryan back into the corner. Bryan is still hanging out on on with the move locked in. Cena broke it and flipping Bryan out into the corner. Cena goes for an attitude adjustment, nails it out of nowhere. Bryan kicks out at 2. Cena goes to the top as the fans start booing him. Bryan cuts him off and climbs up himself. Cena shoves him off to the mat. Bryan runs back up and decks Cena, but Cena shoves him right back to the mat. Bryan runs up and drop kicks Cena this time. Cena is still sitting on the top. Bryan climbs back up and hits a superplex. Bryan hangs onto the corner and starts powering up. He did that not to absorb the impact of the superplex, but Bryan stood on the ape on the top and nailed the big headbutt for a 2 count. Cena rolls to the floor. Bryan runs the ropes and then a suicide dive, but Cena knocked him out of midair with a forearm shot. Cena climbed up to the top and nails the big leg drop for another 2 count. They're back on the top together now. Cena goes for attitude adjustment off the second rope, but Bryan fights back with elbows to the neck as fans chant yes. Bryan goes for the super hurricanrana, but Cena caught him. Cena looked to fall from the ropes, and Bryan on his head. Cena looked to fall from the rope, then dropped Bryan on his head. Cena stumbled with Bryan still upside down in that position. Trio. Cena drops and applies the STF. They trade hold on the mat now, but break once they get to the ropes. Triple H looks to call for the doctor, but Cena waves him off. Bryan with missile drop kicks in the corner. The third one is met with a massive clothesline that turns Bryan upside down. More back and forth action as they trade right and left before colliding in midair with forearm shot. They both get up and Cena slaps Bryan, telling him to bring it. Bryan slaps back, Cena slaps back. They trade a ton of slaps to the face. Bryan unloads and Cena backs off. Cena catches Bryan coming off the top and looks to go for an attitude adjustment, but can't get him upright. And Cena just slams Bryan to the mat. Bryan comes back and climbs to the top, but Cena catches him in midair. Cena said it's over, but Bryan blocked the attitude adjustment and dropped Cena for a 2 count of his own. Bryan with a face for the win. And he wins the title moment. Okay, from this. Alright, Bryan got a huge kick to the head, and then there was a flying knee to the face for the win. Winner and new champion so far, Daniel Bryan. After the match, Cena and Bryan meet in the middle of the ring. Cena says something and he saves his hand for Bryan to take it. Cena also shakes hands with Triple H. Cena can't believe that Bryan has the WWE title but heads out of the ring. Bryan's music hits and Triple H raises his arm. Confetti starts to fall as Bryan celebrates. Pyro goes off and we get the yes chants continue as Randy Orton's music hits. Out he comes momentarily. Well, Orton came out and stared at Bryan momentarily from the floor. Bryan readies himself for the fight, but Orton turns around and walks back up the ramp momentarily. Bryan started his celebration up again, and Orton stops. Orton turns back around. Triple H nails Bryan with a pedigree. Orton marches back to the ring and catches in his money in a briefcase, and Triple H counts 1, 2, 3. And the bell rings. Well, actually, the bell rings, starts the match. Orton was down to Bryan. Triple H has the bell ring. Orton drops down, covers Bryan, and wins the title. Winner, new champion, Randy Orton. After the big win, Orton celebrates in SummerSlam. And that will end my results at that point. And thank you for viewing, and peace out.